Hello, how are you? Well, I guess I should put on my hat, shouldn't I? Would you like to see where I had my little slide into the edge of the road? It was right here. It was very snowy. I put on the brakes. It was all ice. And I had to wait for a long time until some people from the fire department, well, it wasn't a long time, but I waited and some people from the fire department came along and helped me get out. Okay, I have two things to tell you. Okay, one thing is, have you ever tried taking a little baggie full of water and tacking it up to the door frame so that when you open the door, flies will come to the door and they see the reflection of their eye in the bag and it looks bigger, and so they won't come in. Now, I don't know if it works or not, but let me know, okay? So that was the one thing, was using that to catch the flies. Another thing, well, that was something you probably know already about a sharpening stone. You just put water on it to sharpen your knife. And the other thing, what was the other thing? Oh, in the Mother Earth News, there's an article on growing mushrooms. And what they do is they take a white pine log and they drill a hole in it and they put in some of the spores from the certain kind of mushrooms. I don't remember which kind it was now. They put in the spores and then they put a plug in it, like you could use a styrofoam piece. I would use mud, but maybe not. Anyway, you put a styrofoam plug in it and leave it for a year, leaning up against the fence. And then you throw it in the stream overnight. Then you put it back up against the fence. And it will sprout mushrooms, the edible mushrooms, the kind that the spores are that you put there.
It's 300 meters.
Interesting.
Turn left on US 340 business route.
So, that was another thing I discovered. Seems like there was something else similar to the...
Turn left on US 340 business route.
Have you ever seen those purple sticky things hanging from the trees? Well, those are to find out what the bugs are in the area, to see if there's ash borers or something. Maybe it's more to it than just finding out about the ash borer, but that's the purpose of those. Is that all? There must have been, I think there was something else.
Drive 6.5 kilometers, then keep left on US 340.
Well, it's a hot day today. It is 92 degrees. Feels nice. It's 92 and it's humid. You can see the humidity in the air. Oh, I remember. Okay, I've been having these thoughts about humidity and the air, the temperature. Now, when it's the hotter the air is, the more the molecules expand away from each other and the more moisture that can be in between the molecules. So the hotter it is, the more moisture it can hold. So if it's 100 degrees or 92 and it's 70% humidity, that's a percentage. It's not telling you how many molecules are. Oh, that's a cool old house. It's not telling you how many molecules are in it, how much water is in it. It's just saying the percent of the air when it's that temperature has that much water in it. Now, if it's only 60 degrees with the same amount of humidity, 70% or something, it's not as much water in the air. Is it? 70% of maximum, right? 70% of what it will hold. So yes, 70% humidity means 70% of what the air will hold when it's 70 degrees, say. And 70% humidity when it's 90 degrees is 70% of what it will hold. So if it will hold a whole lot because it's hot, you got a lot more moisture. Does that make sense? Now when you got 100%, it's 100%, but still, it's, now if it were relative to your body, the humidity factor is not figured out relative to your body. See, so the amount of wet molecules that are going to be against your body when it's 70% humidity and it's 70 degrees are less, a smaller number of molecules of water are going to be against you than if it's 100 degrees and 70% humidity. Then you've got, who knows, twice as many water molecules against you. Isn't that interesting? So humidity and humidex, like the way it affects us, I think is humidex, it varies according to temperature. Did you already know that? Well, I didn't. I'm just figuring it out just now. Well, I was talking to somebody else who could show me. Now, also, if you can find out what the dew point is. See, because the dew point is going to be a lot higher if it's very humid. Because you see, the air has got so much water in it, 70% water in 100 degrees. So when it cools down to 80 degrees, it's got way more water in it than it can hold. So a lot of it's going to fall out as dew. So if it's 90 degrees, if you have a dew point of 60 degrees, that means that when it gets to be 60, the humidity falls out and you have dew. You have a lot more sweltering kind of a day than if it's that temperature, but the dew point is like 30 or 40 or 50. Like if it's got it, once it goes down, like if the dew point is 50, it's a comfortable day. But if the dew point is 60, it's a sticky hot day. Isn't that interesting? Now I just learned that. I have a friend that I was visiting with, and that's what he said. And he's got a thermometer thing that tells the dew point. I wonder if that's what that number is that's on my thermometer thing. Yeah, this fancy indoor and outdoor thermometer from LL Bean. You stick a thing outside, you stick a thing inside. Oh well, those were my thoughts. Goodbye. Make a comment so I know what this was about, okay? So I can label it. Bye-bye.